Happy spring. I'm reading from The Golden Present Daily Inspirational Readings by Swami Satchidananda. And I'm here at the Integral Yoga Institute. This is Moksha, this little spot down. It's like a curved space on the first level. And I'm doing the reading for March 20th. It's before my class that I'll be teaching very soon. And the topic here is, they will come to you more. This is a question and answer format. So the question being addressed to Swami Satchidananda is, today's business world is hard and competitive. What would you advise a young person who plans to start a business? Sri Gurudev says, it is competitive in the business world, and unfortunately, or fortunately, all the gimmicks seem to be paying off. A lot of money is made by gimmicks, by adulterations and things like that, by false advertising. So it's very hard to have a straight business and compete with those businesses. But if people come to realize that you are running an honest business, certainly they will come to you more. You will never have difficulty in getting enough customers. After some time, the truth comes out. Business should be done with service in mind. Think of the benefit of the buyers. Your duty is to give them the right product or service at the right price with a marginal profit for you. You have to continue your business so your profit can be a little above your overhead expenses to allow for rainy seasons. And business is not always the same. So you have every right to have a little profit, but not too much. Sell as if you were the buyer. Well, gosh, this is right on the tails of the weekend training that I did and around running a business, and in particular a real estate business. So I really like this message. It feels in line with the type of training that I'm receiving, that they always talk about it being a win-win for the customer and, for the business. And I appreciate that kind of mentality. There is a lot of other options for how this can be done, and we see it in our world where there are people who are greedy, and it becomes a very imbalanced type of business, and therefore an imbalanced society that is pretty much what we're living in. And in most places around the globe. And part of what I think about is the imbalance comes from our own consumption and our own desires of imagining and being attached to what we believe it is that we want to have as the consumer, and what it is we believe that we should be getting as the seller or as the business owner. And could it be that that's where the imbalance begins? It's that wanting, that desiring, and on both sides, that's creating the start of this imbalance. Well, the main thing I like to focus on is what this reading is, which is, they will come to you more being honest, being sincere about what you are offering someone. And oftentimes you might hear that that's not a viable thing, like, tricking people or manipulating them to believe something else, or to, wave something shiny at them so that you get their attention, and then they get in and they realize it's something different. I mean, that can happen in situations even when it's somewhat not intentional, because the buyer may have, again, their own preconceived idea. They'll make assumptions about what this thing means. And if it's not met, then of course there's frustration, there's suffering. It can be complicated because there is so much competition. There is this desire for everybody to figure out how they can gather the attention of the people that they want to get, or pull people from this side over to this side. And one of the types of ways that I'm being guided, and I feel like the teams that I'm working with guide us, is to figure out who is our market, who's the audience we want to reach. I've heard it said, if you're trying to reach everyone, you're going to reach no one. So you really want to think about who is it in particular that you want to send your message to, and think about what's going to really make a difference for them. How can you address their pain points? And in thinking about that, I don't think of that as manipulating. I think about that as more psychology and honoring the process that we go through as human beings, that it can sometimes be hard to ask for help. So when there is someone who's able to target specifically where you are and what will meet your pain point, it may be able to get your attention. And that can be used for good, and it can be used in a manipulative way. And my goal is to have it be something that's used for good, and to learn how to discern between those two types of ways of doing business. Your duty is to give them the right product or service at the right place with a marginal profit for you. Yeah, and so it's not being greedy, not being obsessed or infatuated with taking advantage, but finding that right balance. And that's something that I pray about on a regular basis with my business, that I keep that perspective, because I have a feeling there could be some people who started off a business and maybe they didn't intend to become greedy or intend to take advantage of people. Maybe they started off with a sense of doing it right, but somewhere in that amassing of money or wealth, that it started to trigger that part of the brain that wasn't refined and isn't refined. And to me, that again comes back to why I'm dedicated to the yoga practices, because they offer a way on a daily basis, on a regular basis, to help purify the mind, to help bring balance, to help ground us into what is important, what is true, rather than to get spun off with all the thoughts in the mind and all the possibilities and all the triggers that could pull us into a different way of being in the world. But it helps to really clear, pull the veil. I was trying to think of that right analogy that I wanted. Pull the veil. I actually heard this analogy today. It was a video that I want to share about mindfulness and meditation that a friend of mine shared with me. And there was a little girl, and she talked about what meditation does. And she said it's like a jar with water and glitter in it. And the mind typically is like when you shake the jar and all the glitter is moving around, and it's just all this movement and, sparkly movement. And then in meditation and in mindfulness, you let the jars be still, and eventually all glitter starts to fall, and it settles, and then the water is clear again. And that's what the practices offer. That's very much what the journey of the 8 limbs of yoga offer. And it's something that takes a daily commitment. It takes time. It takes support. It takes a community. And it's part of why I feel inspired to want to do these readings from this book for myself, and to also be able to share them and hope that they offer something to others. I lost the place. March 20th. They will come to you more. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that this one landed today. And I'm going to go teach my class. I think I'm going to take another couple moments and center myself and share the teaching some more. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great evening or day whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.